father walked into the Madlanga Commission carrying a weight no parent should ever have to carry. Gregory Loftus sat before the commissioners and spoke about the day his son Bevan was killed. He said police came to his home more than once looking for his boy. On one of those visits, he claims they told him straight. They had not come to arrest Bevan, they had come to kill him. He tried to stop it. He went to the High Court. He applied for an interdict. He did everything a desperate father could do. 2 months after a recorded confrontation about a R25 million hit on Bevan's life, his son was shot dead during a police operation. Gregory still rejects the official story. He says his son was not a drug dealer. He says the killing was ordered. He says the system failed him completely. This is raw. This is personal. This is a father still fighting for answers long after the gunfire stopped. Watch his full testimony and decide for yourself what you believe. If this story stays with you, smash that like button. Drop "A father's pain never dies" in the comments. Share this video and subscribe with a notification bell on so you don't miss what comes next.
Our copies of the statement are not signed. Are there signed copies?
Thank you, Chair. I think, can I request that it be signed after
During the tea break?
Yes, during the tea break, apologies.
All right.
Thank you. It was just because of the travel and there are certain logistics
All right.
that we couldn't sign it that way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Loftus, as we would start initially, the form of your evidence is that we'll give you an opportunity to go through your statements.
Okay.
Thereafter, we will then ask some questions that we have relating to your evidence, and the commissioners will ask certain questions or clarity-seeking questions or probing questions for that matter at the end. But it may be that during the reading of your statement, we also have questions that we'd rather have them at least answered there and then. Okay, thank you. May you then proceed to read your statement starting from paragraph 1.
Okay, I see on the screen here, some stuff is redacted. It's fine if I don't say my addresses and stuff?
Yes, please. In fact, those personal details like your address and ID number, please don't mention, or the names of other persons.
Okay. I'm an adult male, 61 years old. I reside on the Bluff in Durban. The contents of the statement are within my personal knowledge, save where the contrary appears from the context hereof, and are, to the best of my belief, both true and correct. Where I rely on information from other persons, I do indicate, or the context so shows. I am the father of the late Bevan Loftus, who I strongly believe was murdered in cold blood on the 1st of April 2023. Bevan was murdered by the police under the guise of a legitimate police operation and at the instance of Clive Nyka, a competitor of Bevan in the tow truck industry and an alleged drug dealer. I will deal with the incident on more detail below. At the time, Bevan was with four of his friends, with whom he was hiding because he had been warned that Captain Deena alias Deena Govender, who is a captain we know as Captain Deena Govender of the SAPS, was intending to kill him. The events that I describe in this affidavit occurred several years ago, and I may not recall some of the details. If I recall events after submitting the statement, I will either submit a supplementary statement or elaborate thereon during my testimony. On March 31, 2023, the day before my son was murdered, I deposed to an affidavit in support of an interdict application which was issued that day and which sought inter alia to interdict Captain Deena Govender and the SAPS from murdering my son. If I can just say something here before I go on with the business on the panel beating and mechanical side. Bevan also used the house, my house, in which he lived, to store vehicles which had been towed and were undergoing repair. We live in the Bluff area, which is, I need to correct that, We live in the Bluff area, which is gang infested. It's supposed to be, we live in the Bluff area, and Wentworth is actually from the area we come from. That is gang infested, not the Bluff. Okay, the Wentworth area was gang infested where there has been a lot of violence. Bevan had friends and business associates that were allegedly involved in gangs and other criminal activities. The tow truck industry also saw a lot of violent crime. Gang violence involving the tow truck industry started in Wentworth during 2020. Bevan, his friends, and his drivers started being shot at by the members of a drug gang called the Cartel.
Do you have any idea why that was so?
At first, no. But we'll come to that. I'll explain that at a later stage.
All right.
Okay, his friend Antonio Goldstone, who was 21 years old, was shot and killed by members of the Cartel in his flat in Wentworth. A case of murder has been opened, but no arrests have been made. Antonio had previously been shot in his shoulder at the same flats where he lived whilst walking home. Since 2020, 5 of Bevan's drivers had been shot. In one incident, one of the drivers, Colin Pillay, was shot and killed on the N2 in Isipingo, and in another incident, a passenger of one of the employees, Ntlaganipo Dube, was shot and killed in Galmal Crescent, Merebank, on the 10th of July, 2021. No one has been charged with the crimes yet. They were witnesses to all the incidents. However, I have come to know that 2 of the suspects are now deceased. The SAPS police dockets that refer to these incidents are Sipingo Case 14 of 9/2022, and the investigating officer at the time was Detective Bengu, and there was another case open.
Sorry, Mr. Loftus, please don't read out the case numbers.
Okay, sorry about that. In another incident, one of Bevan's drivers, Brenton Capture, was at a shop in Wentworth and was shot at but managed to flee unarmed. A while later, the same driver's father was seated on his veranda with his son and was killed in a drive-by shooting. The incidents were registered under a Wentworth case. A friend of Bevan, a friend of Bevan and his wife were shot in Tiflin Road in Wentworth while he was taking his wife to work. His wife was injured and he was hospitalized for a few months due to the severity of the injuries. He is now in rehabilitation to assist him to walk again. This shooting incident is also registered at the Wentworth police station. In another incident, one of Bevan's ex-drivers, Denzel De Silva, was shot while awaiting his food order in Wentworth. He survived the shooting incident. A colored male by the name of Dion Ismail Wood was arrested for the shooting and is currently in Westville Prison. A police docket that refers to this case is a Wentworth case. I now turn to the events leading to the murder of Bevan and his friends. The allegations against Bevan. There are allegations that Bevan was involved in drugs or killing people. I deny that. As far as I know, he lived from Inca. Wood was arrested for the shooting and is currently in Westville Prison. A police docket that refers to this case is a Wentworth case. I now turn to the events leading to the murder of Bevan and his friends. The allegations against Bevan. There are allegations that Bevan was involved in drugs or killing people. I deny that. As far as I know, he lived from income received from his towing and taxi business. He did not live a flamboyant life and lived modestly. I have been in the service. I would have had some idea if Bevan was involved in drugs or in the killing of people. I vehemently dispute those allegations. The narrative that Bevan and his friends were involved in drugs were a cover-up by the police to justify hunting him and ultimately killing him. I now deal with the police harassment in the course of them hunting Bevan.
If I may just pause there. You say you dispute these allegations. Do you still stand by that version?
Yes, let me just elaborate. When I said dispute these allegations, Bevan's been living at the premises next door to me from 2020, beginning of 2020. I can go on to say that as a father, I'm not with him all the time. I can comment on when I'm with him. I don't know what he does or what he did when he wasn't with me, but in my presence and while he was living at that premises, I did not see any evidence of any of the allegations.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, the harassment and intimidation by the police began in 2022. But it is important that I set out the context which I believe is important and basis for the harassment. During 2022, both Bevan and myself received information that there was an assassination contract put on Bevan's life in the amount of 2.5 million. I also received information from a policeman I know that the hit on my son, Bevan, was genuine. The word was that I should be careful because if they cannot kill Bevan, they would kill my son, Nicholas, or myself. My son, Nicholas, was a Bolt taxi operator and had to cease operating because of the threat on his life and subsequently lost his income and the vehicle. Bevan and I were informed that Clive Nyker put up the 2.5 million contract to kill Bevan. On 23rd of January 2023, Bevan called Nyker, Clive, and confronted him in this regard. I have submitted a recording of that call to the Commission. A transcript of that call is attached as GL2.
Sir, before you proceed, can we then touch the Baloy said, and what you then responded by, is that what do you think is the reason behind the police seeming apathetic or not willing or killing cases, as it were?
That's a tough one for me to say. I'm going to get into trouble for this. I think it's just laziness. That's what I believe.
Okay, thank you. Chairperson, I am advised that the sound is back. Can I request that we play that recording and then go back to the file, to the statement at page 15, paragraph 52.1, but we'll start with the recording.
The roadster, Mr. Clive himself, how are you?
Yeah, Moses, yeah.
Like a lot of money, 2.5 on my head now, eh?
Who is here? Bevan, you?
Yeah, how you can
kill
phone
my
Dane?
uncle.
How you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up? You can phone Dane, the roadster. The roadster, Mr. Clive himself, how are you?
Yeah, Moses, yeah.
Like a lot of money, 2.5 on my head now, eh?
Who is here? Bevan, you?
Yeah, how you can
kill
phone
my
Dane?
uncle.
How you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up?
I phone Dean, I don't even
Yeah,
fucking
me,
know
I
Dean
never
is.
ever fought with you. I got no problem with you, but look like you after me. You paying Deena Govender, you paying all the carols. You and Puff to do all these things to me. I never had nothing to do with you. I never minded your business. I got no flop with you. But Bali, you went out of your way to do all these things to me. You wanna kill me and all. What kind? Bali, where's the numbers?
Are you making allegations against me or are you telling me the facts?
I'm asking you, where's the numbers, Bali? I never do
Let's
fuck
start
all
off
to
now.
you.
Let's start off.
Check your word. I'm
Firstly,
fuck all to
you were
you.
telling the people I killed Regan.
See our Bali. See our checker. No flop. You wanna kill me, right? No flop. The fastest lives the longest. Right? Laka.
Was it?
Thank you, Commissioners. I think, I'm not sure whether it was audible enough for your purposes.
Yeah,
In any event, the transcript is
Yes.
at page 113, just to contextualize things. Now, this is the recording. Is this the recording that you were referring to earlier?
That's correct. That's the recording.
And at page 130, 113 is a transcript.
Yes.
Is that an accurate?
That's inaccurate.
Okay. And you were present when that call was made?
It was made presently. It was his phone was on speaker.
Okay. And what was the purpose of the call?
After he phoned Vali, or let me say before he phoned Vali, he was agitated and he was quite angry and he was under a lot of pressure because he was tired of this. You remember, he hadn't been out of the premises for a long time. Because when he heard that there's a hit on him, he said to me, they're not going to get me because I'm not going to leave the premises. So, like he says, he can't go out.
Sorry, just repeat that.
He couldn't leave the premises. He says he's going to stay in the premises because there's a hit on him, and if he stays at home, they can't get him. Henceforth, Hendrik Noonan ran the operation in the yard and on the street with the tow trucks, etc. So he was angry. So when Hendrik Nunes came over, he was on the phone with Wally. Wally phoned him a few times, harassing him about this motorcycle. So Bevan was agitated by that, so he said, no, I'm going to phone him. I need to put him in his place, kind of, He didn't use those words, but that was the gesture, so to say. And then afterwards he said, you know what? I don't know this Clive Nyker. He says, I'm going to phone him and ask him why he's doing this to me. And that's where the phone call came from.
And where did he get the cell phone of Mr. Nyker, if it is Mr. Nyker?
Yes, to be honest with you, I was quite surprised that he could get the phone call, but he was resourceful. What happens, you get a tow truck driver that drives for the operators on the bluff. And from time to time, they jump areas and they go and drive in other areas. So obviously, they make connections and friends with the guys that work for the different. So those guys have the contact numbers for their employees or their bosses. So he didn't tell me where, so I'm assuming that's how he got it. Because you hear conversations when a guy would ask, one of the drivers say, have you got so-and-so's number? Then he'll be like, no, let me phone so-and-so, and that so-and-so will phone so-and-so, and the number will come, or the information, so to say. Yeah. But I wasn't present when he actually got the number.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can't take that further with you as such.
Yes.
Then you confirm, or seem to confirm, that on the call was Mr. Nyker on the other end.
Yes.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, look, okay, let me retract that. I can't say that it was him because I don't know him and I've never met him and I've never heard him speak. Based on the conversation and the phone call, I'm assuming that it was him.
And why is that?
Well, from the conversation, when Bevan called him, Mr. Clive, Mr. Roadster, he acknowledges, he continues the conversation acknowledging, I would say that's an acknowledgement that it's him.
Do you know whether his company is Roadster?
Yes, I do know that he owns Roadster Towing.
Okay.
Okay. Can you then read paragraph 52.1, which are the points you wanted to highlight?
52.1.
Page 16 of your statement.
Page 15, yeah.
15.
Yeah,
15.
okay. 52.1.
Yes.
When he answered the phone, Mr. Clive Nyker was not able to identify Bevan at first. As soon as Bevan mentioned the 2.5 million hit, Mr. Clive Nyker instantly and immediately identified him. And accused, sorry, let me say that again. He immediately identified him, Bevan, and accused Bevan of killing his uncle. When Bevan accused Mr. Clive Nyker of paying Captain Deena Govender to kill him, Mr. Clive Nyker did not deny the allegation.
I want to take issue with that. I think you should listen to the recording.
Got the number.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can't take that further with you as such.
Yes.
Then you confirm, or seem to confirm, that on the call was Mr. Nyker on the other end.
Yes.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, look, okay, let me retract that. I can't say that it was him because I don't know him and I've never met him and I've never heard him speak. Based on the conversation and the phone call, I'm assuming that it was him.
And why is that?
Well, from the conversation, when Bevan called him, Mr. Clive, Mr. Roadster, he acknowledges, he continues the conversation acknowledging, I would say that's an acknowledgement that it's him.
Do you know whether his company is Roadster?
Yes, I do know that he owns Roadster Towing.
Okay.
Okay. Can you then read paragraph 52.1, which are the points you wanted to highlight?
52.1.
Page 16 of your statement.
Page 15, yeah.
15.
Yeah,
15.
okay. 52.1.
Yes.
When he answered the phone, Mr. Clive Nyker was not able to identify Bevan at first. As soon as Bevan mentioned the 2.5 million hit, Mr. Clive Nyker instantly and immediately identified him. And accused, sorry, let me say that again. He immediately identified him, Bevan, and accused Bevan of killing his uncle. When Bevan accused Mr. Clive Nyker of paying Captain Deena Govender to kill him, Mr. Clive Nyker did not deny the allegation.
I want to take issue with that. I think you should listen to the recording in the context of everything that was said. Let me take you to page 113, 113. Read 113 at the top.
Okay, I've got it, Commissioner.
Yeah, the fifth entry where Bevan is speaking says yes, and then how you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up. Then the response by Captain Nyker. I'm sorry, Mr. Nyker. I phoned Dane. You see, even the fact that is asking a question there, I phoned Dane. It should tell you that implicit in that is, it may in a sense be a denial. I don't even effing know who Dane is, so it becomes clearer. I've never, so your source about me having called Dane to set you up, that's false. So that's a denial. Yeah. But let's go further down. So yes, it's not, it does not directly deal with the 2.5, but the context is the 2.5. And the setting up by Dane is in the context of the 2.5. So let's go further down. The long, there is what Bevan said there, the longest by him. He says, second last line, towards the end, you want to kill me and all that kind. And then the response by Mr. Nyker, I don't. You want to kill me? I don't. Are you making allegations against me or are you telling me the facts? So when you look at all this in context, he actually did deny the allegations. It's on that basis that I say I take issue with what you say when you say he did not deny.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Commissioner.
I'm saying it's on this basis that I say I take issue with your statement that Mr. Nyker did not deny.
No, fair enough. That's the way it's read.
All right.
I accept that.
Chairperson, perhaps one has to understand the context of the issue, whether it's taken with whether it was not Mr. Nyker on the other side, or whether it's a matter of having put a contract on his head. I just think we...
One of the first things they said is, we're going to kill him. We're not here to arrest him. So the way I saw it from my inquiries, there's a small clique in that unit that knows what's going on. The majority of those policemen that work with him, in my opinion, doesn't know what's going on. So to me, it was Deena, Seven, and Nyker, because they were very aggressive, and they, the ones that kept harping on, we had to kill him, we're not going to arrest him. And especially when they focused on when their friend Alan was shot in the head by Bevan. So I had no doubt in my mind that they were going to do it, having also done some background inquiries on them. So I was convinced that they were intending killing Bevan. There was an instance where, at the premises, where one officer, Nyker, he was wanting to search the premises. I did not see a policeman called Pedro Rodriguez arrive. He didn't arrive with them. But being handcuffed, when we came out of the house and went to the side of the house, one officer, Nyker of the dog unit, actually said, Pedro Rodriguez was there, and he went under. We've got a wooden floor, so we've got an elevated floor. We've got a crawl space under the house. He asked Captain Rodriguez to go under the house and check, and he said, if he's there, shoot him where he lies. So I was like, these guys were really set to kill Bevan. And if he approached the Brighton Beach guy, detective, and he would, I can tell you he wouldn't get joy, because he's had that before, especially Michigan was shot. There was no joy.
So there are three possibilities that I just want to understand. There's the possibility, the main one, which is there was a contract to kill him, right? That is irrespective. Then there's the theory or potential theory, which is that, and we'll go to it, they just wanted to kill him, or was this Naika because he shot a friend, or they just wanted to kill him for whatever motive, but unrelated to the hit. Or you then say there's a clique. Are you saying it's the clique? It's just we need to be careful about it. Are you saying that clique was executing a contract?
I do believe that clique was executing contracts. I believe that.
Thank you.
Is it not more likely, though, that if this was a contract killing, the killers would have been discreet about it?
I don't believe that. They are the hawks. They have power to go where they want to and to do what they want to. When they opened my garage, I just want to relate something. When they opened the garage, it was actually the investigator of my case that they put him back in. It was that gentleman that actually went in and took the pictures. I can't remember who it was. One of them made a call and said, "General, we've got him." And I wondered, why are they making such a fuss over a little thing like this to a general? You know? So to me, there was a narrative that they were targeting us.
I'm not sure that I follow how that answers the question I asked.
It's in my belief that this clique of guys were working for Clive Naika. Based on the inquiries that I made, and as I said to you, I found it strange that we'd be pursuing Bevan on futile, what I will call futile cases. Maybe not futile, but on cases where the possibilities of a conviction weren't realistic. Because in my belief, they shouldn't be wasting resources on something like that. And if I go back further, the information that was received while they were doing that, when they started doing that in Belair, when we got in fact, Bevan first got the information. It's a friend of his that told him about these Hawks guys signing for dockets, looking for dockets and signing for dockets at the Belair. He actually told him the case numbers. This is what they're taking from here. And I made further inquiries, and I got to the bottom of it, and I established that these are like futile dockets because had it been serious, they would have arrested him almost immediately. So I questioned and said, why are they doing this? Straight away, when we started getting further information from inquiries, I realized that this is serious and that guy has got a lot of power. There's someone that I know that is from the Sydenham area that's in the taxi association, because Clive is also a member of the taxi association in Sydenham, with a lot of influence. This guy I know very well. He said to me, be very careful of Clive. He's got a long reach as far as law enforcement is concerned. So that's when I realized, no, they have got an agenda. They are here to kill him. I had no doubt about it. Henceforth, that's why he rather had fled and tried to go through the courts for protection.
Yeah, don't misunderstand me. I'm not putting it beyond the realm of possibility that they might have said this. I'm just engaging you on how likely it is that they would have done so. You've responded. You've given your response.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Chair, just before we proceed, can I just request so that because it seems like a critical thing for the record, page 952, which is those photos, but we'll just flight it. File 2, file 3, sorry. 3. Would that be gangs as in drug gangs? Yeah.
Your mic, Mr. Loftus.
Sorry, I apologize.
And start from
I
the beginning of what you said.
Yeah, I won't mention names because I can't really mention names. But what I was inferring there is that I grew up in the Wentworth area. From young, there have always been gangs in that area, different areas accumulating and giving themselves names, etc. And that, like, when the older guys realize that this is silly, fruitless, then the youngsters that come up, they carry on with that because they are associated with an area that has got a certain gang name. So we grew up in an area called Reiger Road. And from the time I was young, I know what had happened there. Because there's no yards, the youngsters used to accumulate in the corners of the flats or in the park or wherever it was. And eventually they gave themselves a name. I don't know the history of where it came from. That area where I grew up in Reiger Road was known as the Young Destroyers. But that was way back. So other areas, likewise, also adopted that names for their areas. And there was gang fight, but those days it wasn't shooting, it was running battles with knives, etc., and bush knives, etc. So I am still known, because I grew up there and my mother still lives there. I am still known. If they talk about me, for example, or anybody else, and they're not familiar with who the person is, the person would actually say, Greg from Destroyers. You understand? Now, Bevan grew up in that area, so he became friends growing up with youngsters from there. Some of them ended up associating with that name, Young Destroyers. Now, from that area, there was drug dealing going on there. The older guys that started it have passed away now, but younger guys have risen to take that place. And there is one, in that area, there is one particular guy that was like a protege to one of the guys, the senior guys, and he's passed on. So he now is the kingpin in that area with the drugs and with the, I can say, violent activity, because he actually got hitmen around him, which have been arrested for killing people, etc. So Bevan knows them all. He went to school with them, he grew up with them, and it came to a stage when they started this cartel story. There was never a name called a cartel in Wentworth. So the guy from that Reiger Road area, Young Destroyers, he had, I think, subject to correction, a family member who is now deceased. He came out of prison and he started hanging around in that area. He came up with Simone Jasmine with the name The Cartel. And the thinking was that they will combine all the areas into one unit and name themselves The Cartel. So that's where this cartel came from. And then they actually started the violence. People started getting violently killed after that. So my point I'm making to the question is Bevan knew the majority of them growing up together.
But he was never part of any...
Never part of them. I can go further, can be researched.
No, not the cartel of any gang.
Of any gang.
Okay.
Now I'm going back to Young Destroyers now.
Yes.
Because Bevan was from there, he played football with them, he hung around them, he schooled with them. When there was running wars between another flat area, which was, I'd say, about 200-300 meters down the road, they were known as the G section. And it was violent. People died and got injured in those battles. But during that time, with whoever they fought, Bevan could walk freely in any of those areas because they knew they were not part of any gang. So that's why I'm saying he wasn't.
Is it also not so that one of the, remember 5 people were killed on the 31st of March or the 1st of April? We seem to have different dates depending on who's telling the story. One of the people who was killed was a convicted robber.
I think that would be Ryan. I don't know his background, but what I've heard, I think that's possibly him, because I know that he did serve prison time.
Santos.
I believe he was a younger guy at the time. Yes, Santos.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't know him personally, but...
So at least to deal with the point, he hung around.
He hung around, yes. Yes.
Who had trouble with the law.
Yes. And I'll add on that is because you're from the area in the Wentworth scenario, the guy was charged with GBH for shooting someone, attempted murder, dealing in drugs. But it's people you grew up with and they're from the area, so you still associate with them as normal friends. Understand? Yeah.
Sure. And then, can you then, just to explain what is sort of publicly reported, so you're saying there is no cartel, as it were, gang?
There was a cartel.
Okay.
Yes, but a lot of the role players, the main role players, are now deceased.
Okay.
So you don't hear a lot of activity or that name coming up too often anymore.
Okay.